Before The Cure were icons of stadium-filling melancholy, they were a band on the edge of transformation. In 1985, a single album would take them from cult heroes to international chart presence without losing the strange, aching beauty that made them unforgettable. The Head on the Door was a kaleidoscope of moods and styles masquerading as songs. It was a daring blend of pop immediacy and emotional depth. It shimmered with joy, pulsed with anxiety, and it whispered with the kind of heartbreak that lingers long after the music fades. It's time to step into the dreams and the fears and the inspirations that shaped this record. From surreal nightmares to flamenco guitars, from triumphant reunions to songs that almost never made the cut. This is the story of how The Cure reinvented themselves while still holding on to their soul. Hi, I'm Andy Fenstermaker, host of Poetic Wax, a weekly music history series and podcast where I dig into the record collection I've been building since the 1990s to explore the sometimes little-known or little-told history of a band, album, or song from within. In the early 1980s, The Cure had become known for their moody sound, a brooding blend of post-punk and gothic rock that culminated in the dark trilogy of 17 Seconds, Faith, and Pornography. But by the time they released Pornography in 1982, the band was teetering on collapse. Personal tension, substance abuse, and psychological strain had taken their toll, and shortly after the tour, bassist Simon Gallup left the band. Robert Smith, the band's frontman and creative force, would spend the next few years redefining the group's musical identity. Between 82 and 84, The Cure dabbled in poppier singles like Let's Go to Bed, The Walk, and The Love Cats. These songs were vibrant and playful, often a reactionary swing away from the bleakness of earlier material. But despite the commercial success, they lacked the cohesion of a full-length statement. Smith was still searching for a way to reconcile the emotional depth of his earlier work with the broader accessibility of their new sound. By 1985, the conditions were right. Simon Gallup returned, restoring a sense of camaraderie and stability. Pearl Thompson, a longtime collaborator and friend, became an official member, and the band welcomed Boris Williams, who had previously drummed for the Thompson Twins. For the first time in years, The Cure felt like a band again, not just a studio project or temporary configuration. The result was a bit of a creative breakthrough. The Head on the Door was written primarily by Robert Smith, who composed the album in a furious burst of inspiration. The goal was clear: create an album with a wide variety of sounds, emotions, styles, while maintaining cohesion through his songwriting. Smith cited Siouxsie and the Banshees' Kaleidoscope as a major influence, particularly in its embrace of stylistic diversity. And that's exactly what you get here. Each track on the album feels like a world of its own. Kyoto Song evokes eerie dreamscapes with its haunting melodies and Japanese tonal influences. The Blood infuses flamenco-style guitar with a pulsing, urgent rhythm. 6 Different Ways brings in a whimsical, almost childlike piano motif, one Smith had originally explored while playing with the Banshees. Even Screw, with its industrial clatter and distorted vocals, feels like a bold departure for the band. Despite the sonic variants, the songs are unmistakably The Cure. That signature blend of melancholy and surrealism and pop instinct runs right through the entire album. Smith once described the record as a collection of dreams, each track representing a different subconscious vision. That idea is reflected not only in the music, but in the album's curious title. As a small boy, lying awake in bed, Robert Smith was haunted by a recurring nightmare: his own severed head pressed against his bedroom door. He knows the dream well. It appears time and again, and always heralds a bout of illness. He lies there helpless, waking to the same unsettling vision and dread each night. The title, The Head on the Door, came from this recurring dream. In the song Close to Me, he directly references his experience, crooning, "If only I was sure that the head on the door was a dream." The line articulates the ambiguous border between dream and reality, fear and revelation. Like much of The Cure's work, it captured something unspoken, an anxiety, a sense of waiting or foreboding that didn't need clear articulation to feel real. The album's artwork visually channels the same surreal, dreamlike energy. Created by Parched Art, which was a collaboration between Andy Vella and The Cure's own Pearl Thompson, it features a smeared, distorted image of Thompson's then girlfriend, Janet Smith, who was also Robert's younger sister. It conveys a special intimacy. The hazy effects deepen the symbolic weight of the title and root the album's aesthetic in personal memory and sleep-borne dread. The typography, created using bleach and a cotton swab, further mirrors this dread. The overall effect is organic and dreamlike, echoing the record's otherworldly tone. The band entered the studio with a sense of optimism and shared purpose. Smith handled most of the songwriting and arrangements, but the presence of Gallup and Thompson and Williams brought a creative balance that had been missing for years. The sessions took place at Angel Studios and were mixed at Genetic Studios, both chosen for their excellent acoustics and relaxed environments. Smith noted in interviews that the mood in the studio was light and productive, with each member contributing ideas that shaped the final arrangements. The chemistry is audible. Gallup's bass lines added melodic counterparts that grounded the songs emotionally. Thompson's guitar textures ranged from chiming chorus-soaked arpeggios to angular cutting leads, providing color, movement, and a dramatic texture that Smith encouraged. And Williams brought a polished yet inventive drumming style, honed from his pop background, which gave the tracks a crisp, dynamic punch. Combined, it elevated The Cure far above the band's earlier lo-fi recordings. There was a shared determination to make the record quickly, but without really cutting corners. Smith arrived with strong demos, which allowed the band to focus on refining rather than building songs from scratch. The result was a series of very highly efficient sessions where creativity flowed and egos really, for the most part, stayed in check. The urgency and clarity of purpose can be heard in the album's tight performances and layered production, which sound richer than any Cure album before it. Before jumping into the breakdown of the songs on The Head on the Door, I want to pause for a very quick moment. You can check out the transcript of this episode and any future episode and hear the music discussed within over on my Substack. You can sign up for free at poeticwax.substack.com. Transcripts typically go up within a day or two of episodes being published. Also, a very quick shout out to my paid subscribers. Join today for just $2 a month to support this channel and get early access to new videos, shout outs in videos and episodes like this, and more. Among the most compelling aspects of The Head on the Door is its ability to merge catchy pop structures with dark, complex themes. Take Close to Me, one of the band's most iconic tracks. On the surface, it's bouncy and infectious, featuring minimalist arrangements, hand claps, brass, and keyboard, but the lyrics tell a different story. Smith is describing a sense of suffocating fear, the feeling of being paralyzed by dread. I've waited hours for this. I've made myself so sick. I wish I'd stayed asleep today. I never thought this day would end. I never thought tonight could ever be this close to me. Before committing the final version to tape, Smith experimented with unusual arrangements for several tracks, testing how far he could stretch a pop melody without losing its immediate appeal. Close to Me was nearly dropped from the album entirely until the band stumbled upon the now famous sparse arrangement that highlighted its tension. The brass section, recorded later, added an off-kilter charm that contrasted the song's anxiety, creating a perfect balance between discomfort and allure. Kyoto Song adds another layer to the album's psychological tension, pairing ominous lyrics about a disturbing dream with eerie, exotic instrumentation. Its lilting rhythm and Eastern-tinged guitar lines create a sense of surreal detachment, making the song feel like a half-remembered nightmare. In contrast, The Blood draws from Spanish flamenco influences, which Pearl Thompson's guitar weaving a dynamic counterpart to Smith's cryptic, emotionally charged vocals. The band's willingness to pull from disparate musical traditions shines through while maintaining unified emotional undercurrents. Other standouts like A Night Like This, which is a sweeping and melancholy track that builds towards an unforgettable saxophone solo, and Push, a propulsive opener that bursts with brightness while hinting at emotional restlessness beneath the surface. Each of these songs adds another hue to the album's palette, reinforcing its reputation as one of the most stylistically adventurous moments in The Cure's career. The tension between the sound and meaning on The Head on the Door is part of what makes the album so enduring. In Between Days, which is another obvious standout single, pulses with upbeat guitar jangles and synth, yet it narrates loss and emotional confusion. The song was written during a period of personal reflection for Smith, capturing the disorientation of shifting relationships and the bittersweet recognition of change. Its brisk tempo and bright tonality contradict its lyrical sadness, a contrast that would become a hallmark of The Cure's most beloved work. And you can find that throughout this album. The track's immediate appeal helped it become one of the band's first major international hits, bringing their sound to a broader audience while staying true to Smith's voice. Even the tighter sounding songs carry a heavy emotional weight. Smith said he wanted to make music that could be embraced widely, but still retain his personal sense of melancholy. The Head on the Door walks that line masterfully, serving as both an invitation to new listeners and a deepening of The Cure's pre-existing emotional world. When the album was released in August of 1985, it was met with both critical and commercial success. It peaked at number 7 on the UK Albums Chart, and it gave The Cure their first entry into the US Billboard 200. More importantly, though, it opened up a new chapter in the band's career. The Head on the Door signaled that The Cure was not just a cult band or a goth curiosity. They were capable of reaching a broad audience without sacrificing artistic integrity. It set the stage for their massive late 80s records like Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me and Disintegration, both of which would expand on the ideas born right here. And over time, the record has only grown in stature. Critics continue to praise its inventiveness and accessibility, and it's often cited as one of the best entry points for new fans, as well as a pivotal moment of transition for the band. 4 decades on, The Head on the Door stands as a transitional moment in The Cure's overall career, a declaration of possibility. It found the band at a crossroads, marking the moment when The Cure became something larger than genre or mood. It's an artistic statement that embraces contradiction, pop, darkness, accessibility, depth, joy, dread. And it proved that The Cure, a band steeped in shadows, could open the windows wide, let light in, and still keep its soul intact. Every track offers its own small universe, from playful pop brightness to dreamlike unease, tied together by Robert Smith's singular ability to capture the fragile truths that lie beneath human connection. Listening today, The Head on the Door feels alive and immediate, as if the band is still in the studio. And in some ways, they still are. Chasing inspiration into the early hours, laughing between takes, and finding beauty in imperfection. It speaks to the courage of reinvention without erasing what came before, and to the magic that happens when creative chemistry meets unguarded honesty. For The Cure, The Head on the Door was a turning point, a bridge between their brooding past and the expansive future that awaited. It remains a reminder that joy and sadness are never far apart, and that the most enduring art often lives in that delicate space between the two. As author Susan Cain describes in her book Bittersweet, there are moments in life when beauty and sorrow converge into what she calls shards. Those hyper-aware moments where fragments of beauty and joy and positive experiences exist amidst incredible pain and loss and sadness and suffering. The Head on the Door is full of such shards, each song offering a glimpse into that luminous tension where heartbreak and hope meet. It's in these moments that the album transcends its time, speaking directly to the part of us that longs, that remembers, and that loves all the more because we know nothing lasts forever.